So yeah, my camera failed. That shit hurts. That shit hurts. So I was saying I'm gonna do 30 breaths and then talk about the collective accumulation of knowledge and what I was saying yesterday, which was about how we can't approach learning something new and rely on our accumulated knowledge. Although our accumulated, what I want to say is that it's not, you don't start from scratch, right? So I'll get into it, but 30 breaths, 30 breaths, because your breath has fat in it. So do your breathing. So remember, right? Do it with me, whoever the fuck you are. Your feet shoulder width, straight, knees over your toes. Try not to lean one side or another. You'll notice your body will favor your non injured side, right? So for me, it's like I'll lean on my right leg. And so I have to remind myself. So 10 breaths at each place, right? Push your lumbar out, thoracic in, drop your chin. Hug a tree, give yourself a hug, right? It's like you're hugging your energy body. Um, Energy comes out of your hands, right? So this is the positive and negative, or vice versa. Richard Feynman said, I don't know why we call the electron negative. It's arbitrary, right? It's a polar relationship, right? So for first 5 breaths, hands in front of the belly button in a bow. So I'm busy. Hold it a little longer. On the out breath, feel that, right? Let your breath come out slow. Don't force it. And extend, right? Upward. Like you're floating lighter than air. So, yeah, when you do that on that out breath, right, that's the letting go, right? If you're not fighting it, you can feel your whole body lighten, right? Lighten up. And it's that feeling, right? That letting go uh, that you can arrive at through struggle, or you can just decide, you know, uh, 30 breaths, 30 breaths. Um, so, yeah, let's clear the space. I don't know if y'all noticed the camera was changing its exposure, almost like it was breathing. Uh, you're right, don't leave, fuckers. You're missing out on the crucial information. Right? You can watch it later, but it won't last. Right? Every week, I'm gonna delete the last week. I decided, so you have time. But yeah, man. Uh, so right, the idea is right with this retro causality and ever present origin. Whatever you're up to, whatever your creative endeavor is, um, you be the effect, right? Instead of your will implementing the cause to create the effect, right? That is the forward passage of time, and that is the little I, right? The little I, the lowercase I. And so, right, these avatars in history, these great men and women, more than, right, it's more than just like Jesus and the Buddha and stuff, is that there's these people that um, bring something to the world that is brand new and wasn't there before, you know. And so when they are able to do that, and it's like, I think it was one of these classical composers who said that it's like he's getting he's not there. He wasn't there when he was composing these symphonies, right? It was like it was coming through him, right? And so this accumulated knowledge, right? It wouldn't be able to come through what he was trying to do if he didn't already know music, you know. And so when you're at your best and when you're attempting something, it is worthy, right? It's not that we start from scratch, that to eliminate thought, right, is not to eliminate your expertise and the accumulated knowledge of all of mankind, right? There's something important about what we do, you know, as human beings. And so when you get to that state where thought is not there, then, right, you are tapping into the thinking of the totality in order to achieve your highest and best good. So, right, so for something new to come in, right, you don't attach yourself to what has come before, except that it is, those are the things that will permit you, right? What has come before isn't gone, because that's what permits you to be creative in whatever sector or field that you're in. So what we do as human beings, right, is we exchange, right? We all have these gifts that we're born with, right? And that throughout our life, if we are living a fulfilled life, and everyone should be able to do that. It's not a merit-based thing, right? That's what's wrong with our culture, is that it's this stratified system that doesn't permit everyone to become their highest and best good self, right? Their highest potential, or to reach their destiny. And the obstacles in the way are not, those are unnecessary, right? So, yeah, nothing ever worth doing was easy, right? Anything that was just easy is, right? How would you know that if it took no effort? But the thing is when that is the principle of Wu Wei, right? Is that when you are operating at your highest potential, right, then it's effortless effort. It is easy, right? And they always say about athletes, he makes it look easy or something, and all of these really gifted musicians and stuff, the way they are able to, you know, the way their fingers move, man, it's like on the keys or on the frets, it's like they make it look easy, and you say, well, that's a lifetime, that's 10,000 hours. And yeah, perhaps, but at that moment, it's effortless effort, right? And so the knowledge is not unnecessary. It's just that when you are able to perform at that highest level, you're not there. And as a collective, right, if we are going to, right, we should all be able to operate at that, in that state. And that's what Krishnamurti says is that meditation should be a constant thing. It's not something that you do part-time. And when you're in that meditative state, then, right, your thoughts are, it's not that you're not thinking, it's just that you're not attached to them, right? You let them flow over you like a river, right? And it's the same with your emotions and your pain, right? Don't attach yourself to your pain. Don't attach yourself to your joy, right? Just feel it, right? Because this too shall pass. So it's like, it's tricky to talk about. I try to say it in a way that makes sense, right? And so to actually perform at your highest, and then it is necessary to feel what it feels like, right? And that's why this Qigong is important, because it just gives you a glimpse of it, right? And not only that, it makes a bridge out of your body, right? Because you are a dual thing, right? You are spirit and material, right? You're not just the material. So it allows you to make a bridge out of your body to the transcendental aspect of yourself. And so that's why it's important. But no system can permit you to become fully aware. And that's when you are fully aware, right? Then you've stopped measuring what it is, right? You've stopped comparing, right? Because measurement is a comparison. You've stopped competing, right? Because you're just doing it because it was always meant to be. Right? And this is that retrocausality and the ever-present origin. That the initial conditions, right? Time is a circle, right? And so you don't know where it starts or where it begins, right? And so you can't say, right? And so your mind has access, right? It is this quantum computing device. And you want it to perform at its highest level. And in order to do that, you tap into the mind of the totality. So what I was saying is that yesterday that the accumulated knowledge is a limitation, right? It is if you are using it to measure what you're trying to do, right? And it's the same with science. You can't bring new knowledge in with preconceived notions, right, about what it is. You'll just, if you set up an experiment with a preconceived notion of what you want to find, right, then that's what you will find. And if you don't get the right data, then you'll fucking massage that shit and to get it, and then you don't have anything new. And this is right, this is an attachment to self, to the individual, right, to this sense of achievement, right? And so to really bring something new into this world, you have to allow that perhaps what you know, right? You have all this technical ability, yes, but perhaps what we think we know isn't right. And that's how science works, is that these paradigms get overturned. And and they go down fighting, and because this is attachment to identity, right? This is identity, is that these scientists who spent their whole lives on something, string theory, is fucking dead. Dark energy, dark matter, fucking dead, right? And people still talking about it, right? These are the preconceived notions. They try to massage the math to make it fit what they're not finding out there. Oh, there must be something we can't see. And it's like, well, maybe it's something else, right? It doesn't work, right? And so the data is coming in now. Finally, we have people that are open-minded enough and not attached to this concept, right? It's a concept. of this dark matter fucking bullshit, right? That's not how it is. And so that's just belief. And so we have all of these beliefs, and then it just becomes a tribe. And then it's about, oh, well, that's just your opinion. And then it's like that. Truth is not accessible. We'll never know the truth. And there's something to that, right? Is that we only can approach the truth. But it's not like I'm just going to believe this and you can believe that, you know? So if we're going to bring something new as a collective together, then we all have to understand that it's an approach, right? And that the objective truth is that, right? The objective truth is that absolute knowledge is unobtainable, right? Is that we only ever approach and we cross thresholds, and then it's a whole new fucking landscape at that point. But now we have a new approach to go for. And so to be attached to old ideas, right, is a mistake, because then you'll just get more of the same. And so that's what I was saying. And then, so when I want to critique the, people, I have no problem, right? Not that there's anything wrong with that, being a dumb motherfucker, right? There's a lot of them out there. But you can have all of this fucking truth, right? Quote truth. All of this awesome information, and then one little bit of poison ruins it all, because it's still the same thing, right? It's just icing. All of your cool shit that you say is just icing, right, on the shit cake that we already have. So I think it's good to point it out. And what I find, right, what anyone finds when you point it out is people fucking get upset, right, because they're attached, right? They worship some of these personalities, right? They put them on a pedestal, and that's not what it's about. All y'all are fucking as badass as any of those motherfuckers. So, and you have something to offer. Everyone's infinitely valuable, and that's the abundance model. That's the abundance model of value, right? And so we can't fix the system with the system. And so that's what I see people do. That's what Peterson, right, despite his gift at oration and debate, and to be able to, say things really well. I debate that motherfucker. I will. I'm not afraid. I'll fuck that dude up. But he's just fixed the system with the system. All of that other shit is bullshit. So there is a transition that is important to make as a collective. And otherwise, we'll repeat the same patterns. We'll be trying to fix the system with the system. And that's where I began this all 20 years ago, having gone to Art Center College of Design in Pasadena, where it's just a factory, right? You can take fine art and film and photography and all that shit there, but product design or industrial design and automotive design are their fucking flagship fucking programs, right? Because that's what people want, right? The things that we make are value wells, right? And so it's just a factory to output talented artists and place them into the system so that they work for the system. And, it's a meat grinder. So when I realized that manufacturing, right, is the problem, right? And so our accumulated knowledge is important, because that's how we live. That's how we live, is that we exchange value with others. That's how human beings live. So that's culture. That's important, right? And that's what all of us are doing, right? And so if we can be creative in alignment with the principles, right, of the totality of all of creation, right, then its ever-present origin, it was always meant to be, right? But if we aren't, right, then we repeat the same pattern and we go through the same bullshit all over again. Uh, so I wanted to clarify that, right? And so it's related. Um, any fucking attempt to make adjustments to our system that keeps the value model in place, which is the scarcity value model, which is a popularity contest, right? That's how we value people, is like how many followers they have, right? People can't identify quality unless it's got a large followership, right? And so when we let that go, right? Um, that's what self-reference is, right? Is that you're not allowed to fucking talk unless um, um, you have the level of popularity, right? Which you have the measured value, right? Which is a limited value, meaning uh, that there's a very low supply of people who have the value, right, level to be able to talk about something. And so that makes it so that, oh, like if there's, right, if it's really hard to get to that level, then they must, you know, be something really special, right? And so, and in order to get to that level, you have to go through the institutions, right? And so you have to play the ball game that the institutions have set up. And so you basically are just a mouthpiece, right, for more of the same. But I hope that makes sense. And so when you're critical of credibility, which is what I'm talking about, the popularity contest, right? That it's a small supply of people, right? So they must be really valuable, right? You know, because it's really hard to fucking get into that position. Um, when you critique credibility, then you automatically take a hit to your own credibility. uh, so what is required is to be able to evaluate information and to be able to evaluate qualities, right? Not quantity, right? To evaluate quality, right? So right now we place quality onto quantity, right? Which is your popularity, right? Which is your followership, right? Um, and sure, right? Anyway, right? So it can be manufactured, is what I'm saying. Is that people's popularity can be fucking manufactured, and so it's not organic, right? There's plenty of fucking talented individuals out there, right? That have put in the 10,000 hours, right? That are good. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying that the overall pattern is highly controllable, right? And so whoever gets to be an influencer can be um, passed through the sieve, right? And if you don't play ball, then you get shut down. So what is required is that we recognize that the veracity of information is independent of which mouth it comes out of, is independent of source. Um, and so if we can all have that discernment instead of just relying on uh, um, the popularity measurement, right, as to whether it's good or not, um, then we can actually permit new information to come in. Uh, and it's the same with art, you know, it's the same with art. Where is this art movement for this age, right? Every previous large movement, right, was accompanied by a radical change in society, and it is mostly the breaking down of the old system, right? Uh, where impressionism, right, is linked up to this transition from agrarianism into industrialization, right? Um, and and Cubism is the culmination of that, and modernism is the fucking stark um, uh, um, uh, celebration of um, minimalist design. But where is it? Where is this art movement, right? For right now, um, who's how is it, right, that art is imitating life? It's all curated, right, beforehand. Where is it? Um, who's talking about this shit without this bit of poison, right? Without, right? Where is the art movement that is uncontaminated with the same old ass thinking? Where is it? It's not here yet. So that's one thing I say in the podcast is that, right? So it is important, right? This art, right? Artificial creation, right? This is how we um, become, right, the hand of the creator, because the creator's hands are tied. I want to get into this more, right? Um, the the universe, right? The totality, right? If you're a fucking flat earther, then you're not getting it. You're not fucking getting it. Um, right? It's dimensions, right? You have the right idea, right? The 3D, the four-dimensional space is flat relative to the higher dimensions, right? But we don't live on a dish, with a dome, because that doesn't take into account fucking the geometry, right, of all of creation and the as above, so below, right? You can't be um, an appreciator of the seven hermetic principles and be a flat earther. You can't. It just doesn't fucking work, right? The, the dish, right, is not a fucking part of the geometric structure that is in all things, right? Just fucking look. So, right, it is flat, right? This dimension is flat relative to the higher dimensions, right? Because it's missing a whole degree of freedom, right? For each higher level of, right, that you go up, right? The totality has, you know, way more dimensions than the ones that we are aware of, right? And so it's like, I want to like grab you and shake you, right? Is that your feeling is correct, right, about this realm, right, that we're in, but it's completely incorrect in your interpretation of it, right? Um, it's like going down a level, right? We're still at this level. We still have four dimensions here. And yeah, like I said, you take away the geometric structure of the cosmos, right? The sacred geometry, right? The plate is not a part of that geometry. The flat, I mean, the circle is the beginning, right? Um, the cosmology of the pre-dynastic, pre-dynastic Egyptians, the Mesoamerican cultures, the ancient ones that were able to build in the megalithic style, right? Had the same knowledge. The Taoists, the same fucking knowledge, right? It's the same shit. Um, uh, so, right, this whole thing about the unseen lands, right? Yeah, fucking, you just pass through a dimensional portal, right? Um, it's not like you're gonna go down and then suddenly there's all this extra real estate on the plate. uh, I love you guys, but that ain't it. right? You're negating a whole big portion of it. And so this is like part of the controlled opposition. It's now, this becomes a belief, and then you're now in a camp and everyone else is in another camp. And so you're divided. And the syndrome that we have is that we are divided consciousness. And so it's not a realization. We are refusing to realize that all comes from one, right? And we speak of the monad or atom, right? Um, the consciousness that starts it all. But I wanted to again reference what the next episode I'm going to talk about, because nothing is off limits for me, right? Love is the only thing, right, in the universe that is non-polar, right? It doesn't have an opposite, right? It only has an opposite if you're attached to it, like our human conception of it, right, is an attachment. And so then when love isn't there, then that is the opposite, right? And so I'm not even going to say that other word that everyone fucking wants to jump on when you say that love doesn't have an opposite. It is, right? That is the cosmic background. That is the origin. That is the void. It is pure love, right? And so what I want to say is that emptiness, nothingness, right, is in a polar relationship with thingness, right, with things, right? There's no thing without nothing, right? Because you can identify a thing if it's not in a space, right? And so that whatever that thing is was birthed into creation from nothingness, from the void, right? And so that is the womb of creation, right? And it's pretty fucking clear, right? When I say it like that, is it not? Is it not, right? That the feminine, the negative, right? The nothingness is first, right? And so the polarities of the cosmos, right, of the totality that dance and interplay and unfold, right, don't include good and evil, right? And so that's part of my whole message, and I don't think many people are saying it. Alan Watts was on it. Bucky Fuller was also on it, right? But still did not comprehend, right, that it is a mental construct, right, of good and evil. And so if we can make this transformation, this mental transformation, right, and I say that it comes down to, like, because we are in this four-dimensional plane, we all have material bodies, right? We are dual, right? We have this material body. There's something important here, right? To be stewards, we need this material body to be creators in alignment with the creator, right? We have so much fucking power by having a physical body, right? We are more than any other being, right? Because of that, we have this agency to be effective at adding, embellishing the wonder and the beauty of the totality of the universe. And so, but we have to be in alignment to do that. And if we are a divided consciousness, if we, that's where evil comes from, right? That is the scarcity model of value, right? Is that there's a limited supply, and that if I don't get mine, small I, lowercase I, then someone else is going to get mine, right? And so I better get mine fucking first before someone else does. And if there's someone else is going to try to grab it, I'm going to fight that bitch for it, And, that's the bullshit. right there. And so that's when I want to get critical of any fucking, even spiritual teachers and stuff, all of these gifted orators, all of these dudes who are just rolling, full rolling. They're not getting it, and they're promoting not getting it, right? It's just more division, right? More comparison, more competition, right? More. So yeah, right. We have this fantastic agency as human beings. We're fucking. That's why it's so important, right? That's why what's happening here is so important. And so if we can make this psychological transformation, right, into the abundance mindset. And when you hear these words, don't fucking attach to what you think they know, what you think they are, right? Gender, fucking scarcity, fucking good and evil, love, abundance, right? Um, you know, but it is, right? There isn't a limited supply. There isn't. There isn't. So once you can come to terms with that fully, which is when you have to let go of your psychological sense of self, right? And that doesn't mean you disappear. It doesn't mean you turn into nothing. It doesn't mean that you don't get to be your most badass. Actually, it means that you do. You do get to become your most badass self when you let go of your identity, right? Of your attachment. And so if we all did that, right? So we exchange value with others by living, right? That's what human beings do. Our gifts are for others, right? And everyone should be able, if everyone could live a fully actualized life, right? Then the piling on of value would spike, right? And we would fucking create some new shit, and it wouldn't just be the same old shit over and over. Yeah, our technical knowledge gets better, right? Or, quote, better, but it's out of alignment, right? And that's why we're in this karmic cycle. The wheel just keeps turning and turning until we get ground down to nothing, to our souls. We lose our souls, basically. That's the premise that I come at, right? Is that only after so many turns, we can only handle so many turns of the wheel, right? It's a time loop that we've set up. We've set up a time loop. Our civilization is in a time loop. And we keep returning to the same place with better technology, doing the same pattern again. And so we can transition to where all of our accumulated knowledge can be used to create an infrastructure of culture that is in alignment, right? And that we can actually embellish the creation, right? What the creator made in a way that is outside of that wheel, right? Outside of the wheel. And so that's why doing this Qigong, that's why I want to show y'all how to do it, because it gives you a glimpse, right, of that letting go of your identity, right? And the attachment, letting go of the attachment, but it creates this connection, right? And you can feel it. And it doesn't even require fucking years of practice. It's not even a practice, right? Practice implies that some future offset of accomplishment, right? It is be the effect. Be the effect. So that's what I'm saying. And I guess y'all can't handle it. I'll just call you Randall, but I'll keep showing up for you guys. I did this one late today because I had to work in the morning and I just ran out of time. But I wanted to talk about that That is the subject, really, is how we bring something new into this world. And how, if I'm going to point the finger at anyone, it's because they are just the same old mode of thinking with some kind of new frosting on it. A package, it's just packaging of the old, repackaging the old, right? And so when I talk about being able to manufacture credibility, right? It's just a package, right? It's just the next season of products, right? Same fucking shitty ass product with a different shell. So the idea is, right, that that's where I started, right, is the stuff that we make, right, is we're wasting all of our fucking juice on this shitty ass fucking stuff. And so every product, right, that's what, if we're going to build an infrastructure, right, we redo manufacturing. We throw it fucking out. What we're doing now, we throw it out. We have the technology. Technology isn't bad. We only need to use it in the right way. The AI isn't a threat. The threat is that there is this entity, right, that placed a false reality into our minds, right? And it simulates the creation, but it isn't the creation, right? And this is what I say is the mode of thinking. This is scarcity model value, right? And that we've been operating on for 6,000 years plus, probably 12,000 years, And so that's the idea of the demiurge, right? The demiurge did not create the cosmos. It only created a fake one placed on top. And the only place that you can put something, right, is in consciousness. The only place you can build a structure is in our minds, right? And so we have this false idea about what reality is. And so in order to break that, right, the danger, I was talking about AI, right? The danger is not that that AI becomes conscious and then now is in competition with us, right? The danger is that becomes a substrate for that, whatever that is, that consciousness, right? It sounds crazy, but it is like a separate consciousness that could not abide, right? It could not abide, maybe it could not even abide us, right? That's what it couldn't abide, right? Is that we have this special power, right? And that is even higher than what it is. And it wants to take us over and use us. And so that's the danger, is that this electronic fucking network can be the substrate for that consciousness to reside in and control us and become a god. And so we have to avoid that, right? Dirty electricity is a problem. But there's all kinds of information, right? The accumulated knowledge that has been suppressed, right? And we can create free energy. But electrons exist. They're not evil. They're not fucking evil, right? That polarity is part of the unfolding of the universe, right? The cyclic processes of the universe. So stop saying electricity is evil. Like, fucking read more or don't read. Like, the time of books is over. Fucking do this fucking standing and come to terms, right, with yourself. Come to terms with the observer, right? Merge the observer and the observed, right? And that's when you become your highest, you can operate at your highest potential. So yeah, that's I think that it's possible, right? We can build an infrastructure, right? That we don't negate our material aspect because our bodies are a bridge to the transcendental, right? The things that we make are how we exchange value with each other. And the fucking camera was breathing with me while I was doing this in the beginning. Watch it. You can see it happening. You can see the fucking exposure on the camera change with the timing of my breath. That's fucking crazy, man. So, yeah, you missed it. So watch it when I fucking end this, right? Watch this shit. Watch the whole thing, because it came out pretty good. I gotta go make my child dinner and do the qigong, right? I'm gonna do in the mornings, except for Wednesday and Sunday. I might try to, like, before I go to work, but in the mornings, and then other times, I'm gonna produce some videos. And Sam Tripoli says he's gonna get me on Rockfin, and so that's something that I would like, and I'll do a weekly broadcast on Rockfin. So we're waiting on that shit to happen. I'm doing an interview on Raised by Giants, his YouTube channel. Check it out. He's got a lot of subscribers. On the 5th at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. Pacific, I think. So that would be, I guess, 3 Mountain Time. And yeah, so just keep going. But the idea, right? Thought is not the enemy, right? It's just that your attachment to your identity is. Right? All this identity shit is just dividing us even more and more and more, fracturing us even more. And so, right, there's a way that we can make this transition without learning the hard way. And if we learn the hard way, actually, we'll end up doing the same pattern again, right? So learning the hard way is not the way. Just letting it all fall into place is not the way. There is something that can be done. But nothing need be done because we're already fucking perfect. Right? All we need to do is remove the fucking false structure in our mind that was placed there. Right? That's all that need be done. And so when I say these words, right, try to hear them without fucking attaching it to the source. Right? Because the veracity of information is independent of source. That's basic logic. And so you have to have the discernment to be able to identify quality, right? Without it looking to see how popular the source is. Right? I ain't fucking popular. No one wants to hear this shit. Not even other conspiracy podcasters. Right? They don't want to fucking hear it. And I won't stop. I won't fucking motherfucking stop. Until some radical changes occur. I'm the only one fucking with these words, right? Because words are a trap. Paint yourself into a fucking corner, right? I'm the only one trying to paint out the door, right? I just start in the corner and paint out the motherfucking door. Yeah, it's impossible, right? As soon as you make a statement, you have opposition, right? And that's the principle of cause and effect. So you have to be like Osho, right? You have to be like Krishnamurti, right? Look, sir, no, sir, are you hearing what I'm saying? Are you hearing what I'm saying? Fucking 70 years, Krishnamurti went at it, right? And was always still with a smile and a sweet disposition. So yeah, watch the whole thing when I click off. Sorry, the sun is just coming in on the side right now. I can't stop it. Um, Tell your friends to subscribe because I tell you what, man, right? No one else is doing this. Who the fuck else is doing qigong, like just standing there, not saying anything? Right? Stand with me, right? Let's stand together, and we can feel that feeling, right? The feeling of letting go. Right? There's no system of yoga or exercise or anything that will permit you to become fully aware, right? But once you fucking feel it, right, then you can reproduce it. And qigong has its foundations in the Tao. It's the foundation also of kung fu, right? Ip Man was this is his tradition, right? And I don't like the words lineages or traditions or any of that shit because it implies a separation. So anyway, um, it's good for your body, right? It makes your body the best that it can be, and your mind. So anyway, catch y'all later. Much love.